अग्नि और राख के युग में आपका स्वागत है।
It looks like you're diving into the world of Avatar, the Last Airbender fan projects. Specifically, Fire and Ash is a prominent fan-made webcomic/manga series. If you're looking for the English version or info on the character Q, here is the breakdown. What is Avatar, Fire and Ash? It is a popular fan comic, often called a doujinshi, created by the artist Kukuruyo. It isn't an official Nickelodeon release, but it has gained a huge following for its high-quality art and darker, more mature take on the Avatar universe. Who is Kyo? In this story, Kyo is an original character, OC. Here's what makes him stand out. Origin: he is a Fire Nation soldier/warrior. Role: he serves as one of the primary protagonists, or anti-heroes depending on the chapter, in this alternate timeline. Vibe: he is known for being gritty, skilled, and dealing with the heavy political and moral consequences of the Fire Nation's war. Where to read it in English? Since it is a fan project, it isn't sold in traditional bookstores. You can find the official English translations on the creator's platforms. DeviantArt: search for user Kukuruyo. Creator's website: many fan artists host their archives on personal domains or sites like Comic Fury. Webtoon/tapas: occasionally, fan creators mirror their work there, though copyright can be tricky on those platforms. Important context: because this is a fan-made work, it's important to note. 1. Non-canon. The events do not align with the official Legend of Korra or the Kyoshi Yangchen novels. 2. Mature themes. Unlike the original show, Fire and Ash often contains more violence and adult themes. Would you like me to help you find a summary of Kyo's specific arc in the story, or perhaps look for other Avatar fan works similar to this one? It appears there might be some confusion because the title Fire and Ash now belongs to two very different Avatar universes. Since you mentioned the character Q, you are almost certainly referring to the Avatar The Last Airbender fan comic. However, just to be safe, James Cameron's movie Avatar 3: The Blue Aliens was officially titled Avatar Fire and Ash in late 2025. Here is the deeper dive into the ATLA fan comic version and its lead character, Q. 1. The character, Q. In the webcomic Avatar Fire and Ash, created by the artist Kukuruyo, Kyo is a departure from the heroic Fire Nation characters like Zuko. The grunt perspective: Kyo is a common Fire Nation soldier. He isn't a prince or a high-ranking general. He represents the boots on the ground during the 100-year war. Personality: he is cynical, pragmatic, and hardened by war. The story focuses on his survival and the moral gray areas of being on the wrong side of history. Combat style: he relies on standard Fire Nation military training rather than the flashy high-level bending seen in the show. 2. The storyline: the Ash connection. The comic explores a darker side of the lore. The Ash people. In this fan canon, the Ash refers to a specific, more brutal subculture or military faction within the Fire Nation. Themes: it deals with the PTSD of soldiers, the propaganda used to brainwash the Fire Nation citizens, and the reality of life in the colonies. Mature content: note that this comic is intended for older audiences. It features graphic violence and more adult dialogue than the original Nickelodeon series. 3. Reading in English. Since it is a fan work, it is hosted on various creator-owned platforms. Kukuruyo's official site: the artist maintains a portal where most chapters are archived in English. Comic Fury/DeviantArt. These are the primary mirrors where the community discusses each new page. If you were actually asking about the James Cameron movie, there is no Q in the Avatar 3 Fire and Ash movie. The new lead characters there are Varang, played by Una Chaplin. She is the leader of the Ash people, a villainous tribe of Navi. Pelak, a prominent warrior in the new clan. which Avatar world were you looking for more details on, the ATLA fan comic or the James Cameron film? It sounds like you're interested in Avatar Q, a popular fan-created character from the Legend of Korra era fanfiction. Wait. Just a quick heads up. Since it's 2026, James Cameron's movie Avatar Fire and Ash, the one with the blue Na'vi, recently hit theaters. However, that movie doesn't have a character named Kyo. It's about a new clan called the Ash People. If you're talking about the Avatar, the Last Airbender fan universe, the bending world, here is the deep dive into Avatar Q. Who is Avatar Q? Q is a Fanon fan canon character featured on the Avatar Fanon wiki. He is often depicted as the Earth Avatar who succeeds Avatar Korra. Parentage. In many fan stories he is the son of Korra and Bolin. Appearance. He typically has a mix of Water Tribe and Earth Kingdom features, Korra's facial structure but Bolin's green eyes. A distinct trait is his white hair, which resulted from being healed by the moon spirit as an infant, similar to Princess Yu. Personality. Much like his parents, Q is described as brash, bull-headed and vocal, but he also possesses a deep spiritual wisdom inherited from his mentors, like Jinora. Powers and training. As the Avatar, he masters all 4 elements, but his story usually focuses on earthbending, his primary element, taught to him by Bolin. Firebending, he is often shown mastering lightning generation and redirection under the tutelage of Mako. The glider. Unlike some avatars who rely on animals, Kyo is frequently depicted using a glider for airbending travel. Why Fire and Ash? There is a bit of a title collision happening right now. 1. The fan comic. There is an older, darker fan comic called Avatar, Fire and Ash, by artist Kukuruyo, which features a different character named Kyo, a Fire Nation soldier during the 100-Year War. 2. The 2025 movie, James Cameron's Avatar 3, is titled Fire and Ash, which has led to a lot of fan art and what-if crossovers between the two franchises. Would you like me to find more specific details on Kyo's earthbending style, or are you looking for a link to the Fire and Ash fan comic archives? Since you are looking for more on Fire and Ash and the character Q, it's essential to clarify which avatar you are following. Because it is 2026, the term Fire and Ash is currently trending for 2 completely different projects. Here is the deep dive into both, so you can find exactly what you need. 1. The fan canon Avatar Q, the next avatar. In the Avatar, the Last Airbender fan community, Q is one of the most famous Fanon, fan-made canon characters. He is often the protagonist of stories titled Fire and Ash or The Legend of Kyo. Identity. He is the Earth Avatar who succeeds Korra. The white hair lore, Kyo is famously depicted with white hair. In his backstory, he was born sickly at the spirit oasis, and his father, Bolin, and mother, Korra, appealed to the moon spirit to save him. Like Princess Yu, his hair turned white as a result of the spirit's life force. Personality. He is described as a brash pacifist. He has the stubbornness of his parents, but tries to use diplomacy first, though he usually ends up solving problems with his fists. Key English sources. You can find his full biography and episode guides on the Avatar Fanon wiki. 2. The fan comic, Avatar Fire and Ash, by Kukuruyo. If you are looking for the gritty, mature webcomic, Kyo is not the Avatar, but a Fire Nation soldier. The story. This is an alternate history set during the 100-Year War. It focuses on the perspective of the Fire Nation's common man. Kyo's role. He is a cynical soldier who sees the reality of the war's brutality. The comic is famous for its high-quality art that mimics the show's style but uses a much darker tone, blood, political intrigue and mature themes. Where to read? The artist Kukuruyo hosts the English version on DeviantArt and Comic Fury. 3. The movie, Avatar, Fire and Ash, James Cameron 2025. If you are asking about the movie that was released late last year, The Blue Aliens, there is no character named Kyo. The Ash People. This film introduced the Mangkwan clan, led by a villainous Navi named Varang, played by Una Chaplin. Confusing name. Because the movie title is Fire and Ash, many people are accidentally finding the older ATLA fanfiction when searching for movie sequels. Which one should you look into? If you want a new Avatar story with a white-haired earthbender, look up Avatar Kyun Fanon Wiki. If you want a dark Fire Nation military comic, search for Kukuruyo Fire and Ash. If you want the James Cameron movie info, search for Avatar 3 Ash People Varang. Would you like me to find a specific chapter link for the comic, or perhaps the full list of Kyo's bending abilities from the Fanon Wiki? Since it is 2026, there is a lot of buzz surrounding the title Fire and Ash. Depending on which Avatar world you're interested in, Kyo is either a legendary fan-created hero or a gritty soldier. Here is the more you're looking for, broken down by universe. 1. The fan favorite, Avatar Kyo, the next Avatar. This is the most popular English fan fiction version of the character. If you've seen art of an avatar with white hair, this is him. The origin story. Born to Korra and Bolin, Kyo is the next Earth avatar. He was born sickly in the spirit oasis. The moon spirit saved his life, turning his hair white, mirroring Princess Yu. Bending mastery, Earth, his primary element, focusing on the heavy hitter style he learned from Bolin. Fire lightning, he is often mentored by Mako in the Fire and Ash fan saga, learning to redirect lightning, a skill he uses to protect the New Republic city. The conflict. The title Fire and Ash in this fanon often refers to a brewing civil war in the Fire Nation that Q must stop before it consumes the world. 2. The gritty comic, Fire and Ash, Kukuruyo. If you are reading the webcomic, Q is a very different man. Character arc, Q is a Fire Nation soldier during the 100-year war. He isn't a hero in the traditional sense, he is a survivor. The Ash meaning. In this comic, Ash represents the aftermath of the Fire Nation's conquest. Kyo's story explores the psychological toll on soldiers and the citizens who live in the wake of the fire. English status. The comic is fully translated into English by the creator and is widely available on Comic Fury and DeviantArt. 3. The 2025 movie, Avatar Fire and Ash, James Cameron. Just to clear up any 2026 confusion, the official movie released last December does not have a character named Kyo. The Ash People. The movie focuses on the Mangkwan clan, led by the antagonist Varang. Plot connection. Many fans have started creating QOCs, original characters, that bridge the gap between the ATLA universe and the movie's Ash People themes. Which Q are you following? Feature. Avatar Q, Fanon. Q the Soldier, comic. Role. The Earth Avatar, Korra's successor. Fire Nation Infantryman. Distinct trait. White hair, Moon Spirit's grace. Cynical, battle-scarred veteran. Ties to fire, trained by Mako. Serving the Fire Lord's army. Vibe. Heroic, spiritual, powerful. Gritty, dark, realistic. Would you like me to find the specific Fanon Wiki entry for Avatar Kyo's family tree, or a link to the first chapter of the Kukuruyo comic? Since you're looking for more, let's dig into the English side of the lore. Because it's 2026, there are two distinct versions of Fire and Ash featuring characters named Kyo. Here is everything you need to know about both to see which one you're looking for. 1. The fan canon Avatar Kyo, the next Avatar. This is a massive English fanfiction project, often called the Legend of Kyo, or featured in stories like Avatar, Fire and Ash. Who he is the Earth Avatar immediately following Korra. In this version, he is actually the son of Korra and Bolin. The Fire and Ash connection. The story revolves around a world recovering from Korra's era, where the Fire Nation is facing a new radical uprising, the Ash Movement. Appearance. He is famous for having white hair. This is because, as a sickly infant, he was healed by the moon spirit in the spirit oasis, just like Princess Yu. Personality. He is described as having Korra's punch-first attitude combined with Bolin's goofy heart. Unique skills. Lava bending, inherited from Bolin. Lightning mastery. He is mentored by an older Mako, becoming one of the most proficient lightning benders in history. 2. The adult webcomic, Avatar, Fire and Ash by Kukuruyo. If you are looking for a manga-style comic with a gritty English translation, you are looking for this one. Who he is. In this story, Kyo is a Fire Nation infantryman. He is not an avatar, he is a regular soldier caught in the horrors of the 100-year war. The vibe. It is much darker than the original show. It focuses on the psychological toll of war, the ash left behind after the Fire Nation burns a village, and the grey morality of the soldiers. Where to find it? The full English run is hosted on Comic Fury and the artist's DeviantArt, Kukuruyo. 3. The movie Collision, James Cameron's Avatar 3. Just a reminder for 2026, James Cameron's Avatar, Fire and Ash, the Blue Na'vi movie was released recently. The confusion. There is no Kyo in the movie. However, because the movie features the Ash people, many fans are making crossover art between the Last Airbender Fire and Ash stories and the movie universe. Summary table. Which Kyo is yours? Feature. Avatar Kyo, Phanon. Kyo the Soldier comic. Bending. All 4 elements plus lava, fire only. Hair. White. Moon spirit. Black/standard Fire Nation. Story tone. Heroic/epic. Dark balash, psychological. Era. Post-Korra future. Aang's era, past. Would you like me to find the specific family tree for Avatar Q, or would you like the link to the first chapter of the Kukuruyo webcomic? To dive even deeper into the Q and Fire and Ash connection, there is a final layer involving a completely different franchise that might be the source of your search, the King of Fighters, KOF. Because it is 2026, the Ash saga from this series has seen a massive resurgence in English gaming circles. Here is the more you need if you are looking for the fighting game legends. 1. The Ash Saga, King of Fighters. In the KOF universe, the story arc involving the character Ash Crimson is officially known as the Ash Saga. This is where the names Q and Ash are most frequently linked in English gaming guides. The character, Kyo Kusanagi. Kyo is the series' main protagonist and a master of pyrokinesis, firebending essentially. In the Ash Saga, Kyo's ancient flames are targeted by Ash Crimson, a mysterious anti-hero who seeks to steal the powers of the 3 sacred treasures. The conflict. The story is titled the Ash Saga because Ash Crimson successfully steals the powers of Chizuru Kagura and Iori Yagami, eventually going after Kyo. English versions. All these games, KOF 2003, 11 and 13, are widely available in English on modern consoles, PS5, Xbox PC, as of 2026. 2. Avatar Q, the white-haired Earth Avatar Phanon. If you are strictly in the Avatar The Last Airbender fandom, more means looking at the spirit world connections. The Fire and Ash Prophecy. In the popular English fanfiction The Legend of Kyo, there is a prophecy stating that fire will turn to ash before the earth can rise. Kyo's fire mastery. Although an earth avatar, Kyo struggles most with fire. His journey to the Fire Nation to tame the ash of the post-war industrial era is the central plot of the Fire and Ash fan novel. 3. Summary of the Kyo variants. Franchise. Role of Kyo. Connection to ash. KOF. Fighting game. Kyo Kusanagi. Fire user. Protagonist of the Ash saga. Atla. Fan fiction. Avatar Kyo. Earth avatar. Star of the Fire and Ash fan series. Atla. Fan comic. Kyo. Fire Nation soldier. Lead of the Fire and Ash webcomic. James Cameron film. No Kyo. Titled Avatar. Fire and Ash. 2025. Would you like me to find the move list for Kyo Kusanagi in the Ash saga or a chapter summary of the Fire and Ash Avatar fanfiction? To give you the absolute most on Avatar Fire and Ash and Kyo, as of February 2026, we have to separate the official blockbuster news from the fan canon that has defined this character for years. Because the movie Avatar Fire and Ash is currently the #1 film in the world, search results are messy. Here is the definitive breakdown. 1. The movie Avatar Fire and Ash, James Cameron, December 2025. This is the third film in the Blue Alien franchise. The plot. It follows Jake Sully's family as they encounter the Ash people, the Monkwan clan, a volcanic Navi tribe led by the ruthless Varang. The Kyo connection. Interestingly, there is no character named Kyo in the film. However, since the film's release, the internet has been flooded with AI-generated leaks and fan theories. One viral meme in early 2026 incorrectly claimed that a character named Kyo would be the first Navi-human hybrid antagonist. This is currently false. 2. The fan canon legend, Avatar Kyo. If you are looking for the Kyo with actual lore, you are likely looking for the Earth Avatar who succeeds Korra in the Avatar The Last Airbender fanfiction universe. English fan novel Avatar Fire and Ash is the title of a popular English fan novel where Kyo is the lead. The fire in the title refers to Kyo's struggle to master firebending. Unlike previous avatars, Kyo's connection to fire is ashy. It is weak and smoky because of a spiritual blockage related to the industrial pollution of the world. Kyo's team. He travels with a Fire Nation princess and a spirit-touched healer. Their mission is to stop the Ash Revolution, a group of non-benders using volcanic technology to destabilize the Four Nations. 3. The manga, Avatar Fire and Ash, by Kukuruyo. This is the older, classic fan work you might be finding in English archives. The hero. Kyo, a Fire Nation soldier. The context. This story takes place during Aang's time but focuses on the grunts. The tone. It is famous for being incredibly dark. In 2026, it remains a cult classic for English-speaking fans who want a more seinen, mature take on the bending world. Summary checklist. Which more do you need? If you want, then you are looking for bending/elements. Avatar Kyo, the white-haired Earth Avatar fan fiction. Gritty war stories. Kyo the soldier, the Kukuruyo webcomic. The Blue Aliens. James Cameron's Fire and Ash. Note, no Kyo here yet. Anime/gaming. Kyo Sawashiro, a new character in the 2025-2026 anime Digimon Beat Break. Would you like me to find the specific chapter 1-inch link for the Kukuruyo comic or the power scaling stats for Avatar Kyo from the Fanon wiki? Since you want even more, let's go deep into the lore of the Earth Avatar Kyo from the popular Fire and Ash fanfiction, which is the most detailed English source for this character. The Legend of Kyo Deep Dive. In this fan universe, found primarily on the Avatar Fanon wiki, Kyo is not just a random character, she is the daughter of Avatar Korra and Bolan. The tragic birth. Korra was killed in an attack while she was pregnant with Kyo. As Korra died, the Avatar spirit passed directly into her unborn child. The moon spirit's gift, Kyo was born extremely frail and was expected to die within minutes of her mother. Desperate, Bolin took her to the spirit oasis in the north and dipped her into the water. The moon spirit, Yue, gave Kyo her own life force, which turned Kyo's hair snow white, just like Yue's. The Ash Prophecy, the title Fire and Ash, refers to a world without Korra, where industrialization has spiraled out of control. Fire represents the old world of bending, and ash represents the industrial pollution and the soot of a world that has forgotten its spiritual roots. Kyo's unique mastery, because she was born into a state of war and raised by a grieving Bolin, her training was unconventional. Earthbending, taught by Bolin. She isn't just a powerful bender, she is a pro-bending style fighter, fast, light on her feet and punchy. Firebending, she was mentored by Mako. In the English fan novel, her firebending is described as cold fire. It burns with an intense blue-white heat because of her spiritual connection to the moon. Airbending, she struggled with this the most, eventually moving to the air temple to learn from Jinora, who helped her reconnect with the spirit of her mother, Korra. The fan comic, Fire and Ash by Kukuruyo. If you are looking for the Fire Nation soldier named Kyo from the webcomic, the more here is about the tone. The story. It's a retelling of the 100-year war from the eyes of a soldier who hates the war. The conflict. Kyo is a fire-breather soldier who realizes the Fire Nation is destroying the world's balance. He doesn't join the Avatar immediately. Instead, he tries to protect the Ash, the common people left behind after the Fire Nation burns a city. English status. It is fully available in English and is known for having some of the best fan-made action choreography in the ATLA fandom. Quick 2026 fact check. Because James Cameron's Avatar Fire and Ash, the movie with the Na'vi just released, many fans are writing crossover stories where Avatar Q meets the Ash people from Pandora. Note: official movie lore does not have a Q, so if you see Avatar Q in a trailer or poster right now, it is almost certainly high-quality fan art or an AI concept. Would you like me to find the specific chapter list for the Q fan novel, or perhaps the Ash people clan details from the new movie? To give you the most comprehensive look at Q and Fire and Ash as of early 2026, we have to address the massive overlap between fan fiction, webcomics, and the recent James Cameron blockbuster. Here is the more you are looking for, categorized by the specific universe. 1. The fan fiction hero, Avatar Q, the next Avatar. This is the most detailed source for a character named Q in the Avatar The Last Airbender world. This story, often titled The Legend of Q, has gained huge popularity on English fan sites. The rare lineage, Q is unique because she is the first Avatar, born to a previous Avatar. She is the daughter of Korra and Bolin. The spirit connection. She was born during a tragic attack that killed Korra. Born weak and premature, her father Bolin dipped her into the spirit oasis. The moon spirit saved her, turning her hair permanent white, linking her spiritually to Princess Yu. The conflict. Her series Fire and Ash deals with a world where Asami Sato, in a dark AU twist, has used technology to become a tyrant. Q must lead a new team Avatar to restore balance to a world choked by ash, industrial war. 2. The cult classic webcomic, Fire and Ash Kukuruyo. If you are looking for a gritty, manga-style English comic, this is it. It is vastly different from the Avatar Q stories above. The protagonist, Q, is a Fire Nation soldier during Aang's era. The plot. It is an anti-war story. Q isn't trying to save the world with bending, he's trying to survive the Fire Nation's brutal military complex. It is highly regarded for its mature English translation and exploring the psychological trauma of the 100-year war. Where to read? You can find the full archives on Comic Fury or DeviantArt under the creator Kukuruyo. 3. The 2026 reality, James Cameron's Avatar Fire and Ash. Because you mentioned the title Fire and Ash, it's important to clarify the movie that is currently dominating theaters. The movie, released in December 2025, this is the third Blue Alien Avatar film. The character confusion. There is no character named Q in the official movie. The lead antagonist is Varang, leader of the Ash people, a volcanic Na'vi clan. The trend. In early 2026, many English-speaking fans are creating what-if content, blending the Last Airbender fan character Q into the world of Pandora because of the identical titles. Comparison of the Q lore. Feature: Avatar Q, Phanon. Soldier Q, webcomic. Element: Earth, the next Avatar. Fire, basic soldier. Hair color: white, moon spirit. Black, standard. Parents: Korra and Bolin, unknown Fire Nation family. Tone: epic, spiritual, heroic. Gritty, realistic, dark. Ki Ellie, Jinora, and Mako, fellow Fire Nation grunts. Would you like me to find the specific chapter list for the Legend of Kyo fanfiction, or a gallery of the Ash people designs from the new movie? To give you the most exhaustive look at Fire and Ash and Q, as of early 2026, we have to address the massive overlap between fanfiction, webcomics, and the recent James Cameron blockbuster. Because the movie Avatar Fire and Ash is currently the #1 film in the world, search results are often tangled. Here is the definitive breakdown. 1. The movie, Avatar Fire and Ash, James Cameron, December 2025. This is the third film in the Blue Alien franchise. The plot: it follows Jake Sully's family as they encounter the Ash people, the Mangwan clan, a volcanic Navi tribe led by the ruthless Varang, Una Chaplin. The Q fact check: there is no character named Q in the official film. However, since the film's release, the internet has been flooded with leaks and AI-generated concepts. If you see a character named Q in a trailer right now, it is almost certainly a fan-made concept or a confusion with the Last Airbender phenomenon. 2. The fan canon legend Avatar Q, the next Avatar. If you are looking for the Q with actual lore, you are likely exploring the Earth Avatar who succeeds Korra in the Avatar, the Last Airbender fanfiction universe. English fan novel Avatar Fire and Ash is the title of a popular English fan novel where Q is the lead. The story, set in a world where industrialization has spiraled out of control. Fire represents the old world of bending, and Ash represents the soot and pollution of a world that has forgotten its spiritual roots. The white hair lore, Q is famously depicted with white hair. Born sickly at the spirit oasis, her father, Bolin, and mother, Korra, appeal to the moon spirit to save her. Like Princess Yu, her hair turned white as a result of the spirit's life force. 3. The manga, Avatar Fire and Ash, by Kukuruyo. This is the gritty, classic fan work you might be finding in English archives. The hero, Q, a Fire Nation soldier. The tone: this story takes place during Aang's time but focuses on the grunts. It is famous for being incredibly dark and explores the psychological toll of war on common soldiers. Where to read: the artist Kukuruyo hosts the full English version on Comic Fury and DeviantArt. Summary checklist: which more do you need? If you are looking for bending/elements, Avatar Q, the white-haired Earth Avatar fanfiction. Gritty war stories, Q the soldier, the Kukuruyo webcomic. The Blue Aliens, James Cameron's Fire and Ash, note, no Q here. Fighting games, Q Kusanagi, the protagonist of the Ash saga in King of Fighters. Would you like me to find the specific family tree for Avatar Q, the Earth Avatar, or perhaps the full list of new Navi clans from the 2025 movie?
The third installment of the Avatar franchise, officially titled Avatar Fire and Ash, was released in theaters on December 19, 2025. Directed by James Cameron, the film continues the epic saga on Pandora, shifting the focus toward more complex emotional themes and introducing a new, more aggressive Navi culture. # key movie details. Feature. Details. Title: Avatar Fire and Ash. Release date: December 19, 2025. Runtime: approximately 3 hours and 17 minutes. Language: English, with global dubs available. Director: James Cameron, starring Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang. # The plot: Fire and Ash. The story picks up after the events of The Way of Water. While the first two films showcased the Na'vi as generally noble, this chapter introduces the Ash people, a volcanic-dwelling tribe led by the ruthless Varang, played by Una Chaplin. A different perspective. James Cameron has noted that this film flips the script, showing humans in a slightly better light and some Na'vi in a much darker, more antagonistic role. The Sully family, Jake Sully and Neytiri, must navigate the aftermath of their recent losses while facing threats that aren't just coming from the sky people, humans, but from within Pandora itself. Future of the franchise. If you're already looking ahead, the saga is far from over. Avatar 4, scheduled for December 21st, 2029. Avatar 5, scheduled for December 19th, 2031. Note: as of February 2026, the film has completed its primary theatrical run and is moving toward home media and streaming platforms, typically Disney+. Would you like me to find out where you can stream it now? Or would you like to see a list of the new cast members? Since its release in late 2025, Avatar: Fire and Ash has sparked plenty of conversation. Here is a deeper dive into the new characters, the box office performance, and when you can watch it at home. New faces and tribes. While the Sully family returns, the film introduces significant new players that shift the tone of the series. The Ash people, Mangkwan clan. Unlike the forest or sea Na'vi, this tribe lives near volcanic regions. They are depicted as a more aggressive, gray faction of Na'vi who have a much more cynical view of the world. Varang, Una Chaplin, the primary antagonist among the Na'vi. She is the leader of the Ash people and is described as a force of nature who challenges the idea that all Na'vi are peaceful. Dr. Karina Moog, Michelle Yeoh, a human scientist who plays a pivotal role in the ongoing conflict between the RDA and the indigenous people. Palak, David Thewlis, a new Na'vi character who adds a different perspective to the shifting alliances on Pandora. Box office and reception. As of February 2026, the film has had a massive, though slightly earthier run compared to its predecessors. Global earnings. It has grossed approximately $1.46 billion worldwide. While this makes it the third highest grossing film of 2025, it is currently the lowest grossing entry in the Avatar trilogy. Critical buzz. The film holds a 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics have praised the stunning volcanic visuals and the introduction of the Ash people, but some felt the pacing was a bit bloated, with a runtime of 197 minutes. 3 hours and 17 minutes. Narrative shift. This movie is notable for being the first in the series narrated by Loak, Jake's middle son, rather than Jake Sully himself. When can you stream it? If you missed it in IMAX, you'll likely have to wait a bit longer for the living room experience. Digital purchase/rental. Expected to arrive on platforms like Prime Video and Apple TV in late March or early April 2026. Disney Plus release. Following the pattern of The Way of Water, it is projected to hit Disney Plus in June 2026. James Cameron prefers long theatrical windows to maximize the 3D experience. Would you like me to find the nearest theater still showing it, or perhaps give you a summary of the ending? Since we are now in February 2026, Avatar: Fire and Ash has moved into the late stages of its theatrical run. Here are the deeper details regarding the plot twists, the Ash people, and the upcoming home release. Detailed plot and spoilers. The third film takes a darker turn, focusing on the internal conflicts of Pandora rather than just the human invasion. The Mangkwan, Ash people, led by Varang, una chaplain, this tribe lives in volcanic regions and rejects the goddess Awa. They are collaborationist, meaning they actually align with the human RDA to gain advanced weaponry. The narrative shift. For the first time, the story is narrated by Loak, Jake's son, instead of Jake Sully. This reflects the franchise's transition to the younger generation. Spider's evolution. A major subplot involves Spider, Quaritch's human son, undergoing a procedure that allows him to breathe Pandora's atmosphere without a mask, further blurring the line between his human origins and his Na'vi identity. The climax. The film culminates in a massive battle at Bridgehead City, the RDA's industrial capital. Unlike previous films, the ending is somewhat bittersweet, with Varang escaping and the threat of the Ash people still looming. Critical and fan reception. The film has been more polarizing than the first two, leading to a mixed status among critics but a high rating among fans. Platform, score, common feedback, Rotten Tomatoes, 70%, critics. Visually stunning but criticized for repetitive narrative beats and a 3-hour-plus runtime. Rotten Tomatoes, 91%, audience. Fans loved the expansion of Na'vi culture and the higher emotional stakes for the Sully family. Metacritic, 61/100ths. Critics noted that while the fire visuals were new, the story felt like a bridge to the next two sequels. Home media and streaming 2026. If you prefer watching at home, the wait is almost over. Digital release, VOD, expected to be available for purchase/rent on Prime Video and Apple TV in late March 2026. Disney Plus streaming, currently projected for June 2026. Disney typically keeps Avatar films in theaters longer than Marvel or Pixar films to maximize the 3D/IMAX revenue. Physical media, 4K Blu-ray, expected around July 2026, likely with a special collector's edition featuring behind-the-scenes footage of the volcanic world building. Would you like me to look up the specific showtimes for a theater near you, or shall I summarize the character arcs for Kiri and Loak in this movie? Since we are now in February 2026, the details of Avatar Fire and Ash are fully out. The film took some surprising risks with its story, specifically by making the Na'vi the primary antagonists for much of the runtime. Here is the deeper dive you asked for. Plot twists and spoilers. The third film shifts from the lush oceans to the volcanic regions of Pandora, introducing the Mangkwan clan, the Ash people. The villainous shift, led by the fierce Varang, una chaplain. The Ash people are collaborationists. They don't just fight the Sullys, they actively trade with the RDA humans for technology, viewing the goddess Awa as a weak or spent deity. Spider's evolution. In a major biological twist, the human boy spider is infused with Pandoran mycelia, fungi. This allows him to breathe Pandora's atmosphere without a mask, making him the first biological hybrid to live truly as a Na'vi without an avatar body. The culmination. The final battle takes place in a magnetic flux vortex near the RDA's industrial base, Bridgehead City. Unlike the clear victory in the first film, this ending is more complex. Varang survives to flee, and Colonel Quaritch actually teams up with Jake Sully temporarily to save Spider's life, showing a rare sliver of humanity. Character arcs, the new generation. While Jake and Neytiri are present, the film belongs to the children. Loak, the new voice. As the narrator, Loak struggles with the bad son label. His bond with the Tulkun, Payakan, becomes the bridge that eventually convinces the pacifist sea tribes to fight the Ash people. Kiri, the Messiah. The film confirms Kiri was born via parthenogenesis, a miracle birth by Awa. She displays godlike powers in the finale, commanding the very flora of Pandora to dismantle the RDA's machinery. Ronald's sacrifice. In a tragic turn, Ronald, Kate Winslet, perishes shortly after giving birth to her third child during the volcanic siege. Neytiri vows to help raise the infant, further bonding the forest and reef clans. Visuals and music. High frame rate, HFR, James Cameron used an even more aggressive 48 FPS switching technique. While some viewers found it video gamey, it was praised for making the volcanic ash and embers look terrifyingly real in 3D. Soundtrack. The score by Simon Franklin introduces heavy industrial percussion and deep volcanic chants to represent the Ash people. The end credits song is Dream as One by Miley Cyrus. Post-credits. True to Cameron's style, there is no post-credits scene. He prefers the film to end on the iconic eyes opening shot. This time, it's Loak's eyes that open in the final frame. The Path to Avatar 4. The ending leaves several open threads for the next sequel, slated for 2029. 1. The human face of Awa. Kiri has a vision of Awa that, for the first time, reveals the goddess has a human-like face, hinting at a deeper connection between Earth and Pandora. 2. Quaritch's redemption. After saving Spider, Quaritch is left in a moral gray area, no longer a simple villain, but not quite an ally. 3. Interstellar travel. There is a brief hint at the end of the film that the Na'vi might eventually need to leave Pandora's surface to face the RDA in space. Would you like me to break down the specific differences between the Ash people and the Metkayina? Or are you looking for the exact digital release dates for Disney+? As we move through February 2026, the cultural footprint of Avatar: Fire and Ash is fully established. The film has officially shifted the narrative of the franchise from humans versus nature to a more complex Na'vi versus Na'vi conflict. Here is the deep dive insider look at the film's lore, technical specs, and future implications. Deep lore, the Mengquan, Ash people. The most talked about part of the movie is the introduction of the Ash people. Here's what sets them apart biologically and culturally. Appearance. They are Na'vi, but their skin has a grayer, matte blue tint rather than the vibrant cyan of the Omaticaya. They often wear heavy, red war paint and obsidian-encrusted armor. Belief system. They are the first Na'vi tribe shown to reject Awa. They believe that the goddess abandoned them during a catastrophic volcanic eruption generations ago. They view fire as the only true power, a force of destruction and renewal. RDA alliance. In a shocking twist, the Ash people trade raw materials with the RDA in exchange for high-tech weaponry. This collaborationist stance makes them the secondary antagonists of the film alongside Colonel Quaritch. Major plot revelations. The Bridgehead infiltration. The second act features a tense, stealth-heavy sequence where Jake and Neytiri must infiltrate Bridgehead City, the massive human industrial capital on Pandora, to rescue their family. The Talalim clan. We meet the Wind Traders, a nomadic tribe that uses giant, hot air balloon-like creatures to traverse the skies. They act as the middlemen of Pandora and provide the Sullys with the transport needed to reach the volcanic regions. Quaritch's relationship. The film explores a bizarre, tactical romance between Colonel Quaritch and Varang, the leader of the Ash people. Their bond is built on a shared hatred for Jake Sully and a mutual respect for military might. # box office and technical stats as of February 2026. Metric. Statistic. Worldwide gross, $1.463 billion. Global rank. 16th highest grossing movie of all time. Budget reported $400 million. Format optimized for Lightstorm 3D, 48 FPS high frame rate. # the next generation arcs. The film intentionally sidelines Jake Sully as the primary narrator, handing the mic to his middle son, Loak. Kiri's origin. The movie heavily implies that Kiri is a Na'vi messiah born directly from Awa's will. Her ability to control Pandoran life reaches new heights in the volcanic finale. Spider's oxygen mask. A major tension point in the film is Spider's failing technology. At one point, he nearly dies of asphyxiation when his mask is damaged during a Mangquan ambush, leading to a desperate rescue by the Sully kids. # what's next? Avatar 4. The ending of Fire and Ash acts as a direct setup for Avatar 4, slated for December 21, 2029. 1. The time jump. James Cameron has confirmed that Avatar 4 will feature a significant time jump, approximately 6 years, where we will see the Sully children as fully grown adults. 2. Earth's role. There are hints that the fourth film may actually take the Na'vi to Earth for the first time, showing the dying state of the human home world. Would you like me to find the best current price for the digital 4K pre-order? Or shall I explain the meaning behind the Dream as One end credits song? It is now February 2026, and Avatar Fire and Ash has largely completed its massive theatrical run. If you're looking for a deep dive into the latest developments, the Ash people, and what this means for the future of Pandora, here is the most current information. # the Ash people, the Mangquan clan. The biggest shift in this film is the introduction of a Na'vi tribe that serves as an antagonist. A gray conflict led by the fierce matriarch Varang, Una Chaplain. The Ash people are volcanic dwellers who have suffered greatly and, as a result, have become cynical and warmongering. The RDA alliance. In a shocking turn for the franchise, the Mangquan actually collaborate with the human RDA. They view the goddess Awa as having abandoned them and are willing to use human technology and firearms to protect their interests. The look. Unlike the forest or sea clans, these Na'vi have a grayer, charcoal-toned skin and utilize obsidian and volcanic glass in their weaponry. # major plot twists. Spoilers. The story moved the chess pieces of Pandora in ways fans didn't expect. The breathing miracle. Through Kiri's connection to Awa, Spider undergoes a biological transformation that allows him to breathe Pandora's air without a mask. This is a massive game changer, because the RDA is now desperate to replicate this so they can colonize without life support systems. The death of a leader. The film features a heavy emotional toll. Ronal, Kate Winslet, the Metkayina matriarch, dies in the final battle after giving birth to her third child. Neytiri steps in to help raise the infant, bridging the clans further. The final duel. Jake and Quaritch face off in a magnetic flux vortex. In a surprising moment of shared humanity, they both stop fighting to save Spider when he nearly falls to his death. However, Quaritch ultimately escapes, remaining a threat for the sequels. # box office and critical reception. Metric. Result as of February 2026. Global box office, $1.46 billion, 15th highest grossing film of all time. Rotten Tomatoes, 70% critics / 91% audience. Common praise: the volcanic fire visuals and the darker, more complex Navi culture. Common criticism: a long runtime, 197 minutes, and some repetitive plot beats from The Way of Water. Streaming and home media: if you are waiting to watch it on your own screen, digital, VOD, expected to be available for purchase on platforms like Prime Video and Apple TV in late March 2026. Disney Plus: Disney is likely following their windowing strategy, so expect it to arrive on streaming around June 2026. Looking ahead: Avatar 4. The ending of Fire and Ash leaves several threads open for the next film, currently titled Avatar 4, slated for December 21, 2029. 1. The time jump: James Cameron has confirmed a significant time jump is coming in the next movie, where the Sully kids will be young adults. 2. The villain's return: Varang survived the finale, and her obsession with fire and vengeance is expected to be a primary driver for the next conflict. Would you like me to find out if there are any IMAX screenings still available near you, or would you like to know more about the new Wind Trader tribe mentioned in the film? As we approach the end of February 2026, Avatar Fire and Ash has solidified its place as a major cinematic event. Since you're looking for more, here is the definitive breakdown of the film's biggest secrets, technical feats, and current status. 1. The shocking narrative shift. This film famously broke the all Navi are good rule. The Mangkwan, Ash people, led by the ruthless Varang, Una chaplain, this tribe is not just aggressive, they are collaborationists. They have allied with the RDA to gain access to human weaponry, viewing the forest and sea clans as weak for their devotion to Awa, Quaritch, and Varang. In one of the most unexpected plot points, the recombinant Colonel Quaritch and Varang become tactical allies and, eventually, lovers. Their power couple from hell dynamic drives the film's second half. Spider's transformation, a major emotional beat, involves Spider. After nearly dying from asphyxiation during an ambush, he is eventually initiated into the Navi people through a ritual involving the underwater spirit trees, allowing him to connect with the memory of Grace Augustin. 2. Deep dive, key scenes. The Bridgehead Siege, the climax, takes place at the RDA's industrial capital. It features a massive battle involving the Wind Traders, a new airborne nomadic tribe, the Metkaina, and the Sully family against the RDA and the Ash people. The hallucination sequence. To test Quaritch's loyalty, Varang forces him to take a truth drug. This leads to a surreal, visually distorted sequence that reveals Quaritch's inner conflict regarding his son, Spider. Kiri's awakening. Kiri confirms her role as a messianic figure, using her connection to Awa to dismantle RDA machinery from within the ground itself. 3. Current box office and reception. February 2026. Metric, status, global box office, $1.463 billion. Domestic, U.S. total, $392.5 million. Cinema score. A. Rotten Tomatoes, 70% critics / 91% audience. While it hasn't reached the $2 billion mark of the first two films, it has been a massive financial success, easily clearing its $400 million production budget and the $1 billion break-even point. 4. Technical innovation. James Cameron introduced Lightstorm 3D for this film, which uses a more seamless 48 FPS high frame rate integration. Volcanic realism. The production team worked with NASA engineers to study real volcanic activity. Flame-proof performance. New custom flame-resistant motion capture suits were built so actors could perform closer to practical fire effects, giving the fire scenes a weight and danger never seen before in CGI. #5. When can you watch at home? Since the film is now in its 10th week of release, VOD, purchase/rent, expected to hit platforms like Prime Video and Apple TV in late March 2026. Streaming, Disney Plus, projected to arrive in June 2026, following Disney's strategy of giving James Cameron films a very long theatrical window. Would you like me to find the specific digital pre-order links? Or should I explain the ending setup for Avatar 4? Since we are now in late February 2026, Avatar Fire and Ash is wrapping up its theatrical run and preparing for its digital debut. If you're looking for the deepest level of detail on the plot, the Ash people, and the technical secrets of the film, here is the full breakdown. #1. The story, a moral shift. The biggest change in Fire and Ash is that the Na'vi are no longer just the victims. The Mangkwan, Ash people, led by the matriarch Varang, Una chaplain, this tribe lives in volcanic regions and has grown cynical. They believe Awa has abandoned them and have formed a collaborationist alliance with the human RDA. The Grey Conflict. James Cameron flipped the script. This film features bad Na'vi and introduces humans who are not purely villainous, creating a more complex moral landscape. Spider's journey. The human boy Spider undergoes a massive transformation. After his oxygen mask fails in a volcanic ambush, a biological breakthrough, linked to Kiri and the spirit trees, eventually allows him to breathe Pandora's air without a mask, making him a true hybrid. #2. New tribes and creatures. The world of Pandora expanded significantly in this chapter. The Wind Traders, a nomadic merchant tribe that travels via giant balloon-like aerial creatures. They serve as the camel caravans of Pandora and help the Sullys reach the Ash people's territory. Volcanic predators. The film introduces several new species adapted to high-heat environments, including darker, obsidian-skinned ikrins used by the Ash people. #3. Key character fates. Spoilers. Loak as narrator. For the first time, Jake Sully is not the narrator. The story is told through Loak's eyes, signaling a passing of the torch to the next generation. Quaritch's redemption? During the final battle in a magnetic flux vortex at Bridgehead City, Quaritch and Jake are forced to work together to save Spider from falling to his death. While they remain enemies, this moment creates a major rift in Quaritch's loyalty to the RDA. Varang's survival. Unlike the villains of the first two films, Varang survives the finale, retreating into the ash clouds to remain the primary threat for Avatar 4. #4. Box office and technical stats. Category. Details. As of February 2026. Global box office. $1.463 billion. Currently the #1 movie of 2025. Runtime, 197 minutes, 3 hours and 17 minutes. Visual innovation, utilized Lightstorm 3D at a constant 48 FPS for more realistic fire and ember effects. Theatrical status, leaving most IMAX/premium screens this week to make room for 2026 spring releases. #5. Home viewing guide. If you want to watch it at home, here is the current schedule. Digital purchase, VOD, expected to release on Prime Video, Apple TV, and Vudu in late March or early April 2026. Disney Plus streaming, likely following the 6-month window of the previous film, projecting a June 2026 streaming debut. Physical media. 4K UHD and Blu-ray collector's editions are rumored for July 2026. Would you like me to find a specific list of the Easter eggs James Cameron hid for Avatar 4, or should I check if any theaters near you are still running final 3D screenings? Since we are now in late February 2026, Avatar Fire and Ash is nearing the end of its theatrical journey. The film has officially shifted the franchise's focus from simple survival to a complex, internal Pandoran civil war. Here are the deep dive details on the plot, the characters, and what the future holds for 2029 and beyond. #1. The conflict. Na'vi versus Na'vi. For the first time, the Sky People, humans, are not the only villains. The Mangkwan, Ash People, led by the ruthless Varang, Una chaplain. This tribe lives in volcanic regions and has a hardened, cynical view of the world. They reject Awa and, in a major twist, have formed a collaborationist alliance with the RDA, trading resources for human technology. A change in tone, James Cameron shifted the narrative to show that the Na'vi are just as capable of being the bad guys as humans are. #2. Major plot twists. Spoilers. The breathing miracle. After Spider's oxygen mask fails during an ambush, Kiri uses her connection to Awa to induce a biological fusion. Spider is infused with Pandoran mycelia, allowing him to breathe Pandora's air without a mask. Quaritch's evolution. Colonel Quaritch becomes so entrenched in the Ash People's culture that he begins wearing their war paint. During the finale, he and Jake actually team up briefly to save Spider from falling to his death, though Quaritch remains a fugitive by the end of the film. Loak's narrative. This film is narrated by Loak instead of Jake Sully, marking a permanent shift in the franchise toward the younger generation. #3. Current box office and performance. Metric. Status. As of February 2026, global box office, $1.463 billion. Number 16 highest grossing film of all time. Budget, estimated $400 million. Rotten Tomatoes, 70% critics, /91% audience. Theatrical status, entering its final weeks in IMAX and PLF. Premium large format. #4. Streaming and digital release. If you're waiting to watch it at home, here is the current 2026 schedule. Digital purchase, VOD, expected on Apple TV and Prime Video in late March 2026. Disney Plus streaming, projected for June 2026, following the 6-month window pattern established by The Way of Water. #5. The Path to Avatar 4, 2029. The ending of Fire and Ash directly sets up the next chapter. 1. The time jump. James Cameron has confirmed that Avatar 4 will feature a 6 to 8 year time jump. We will see the Sully children as fully grown adults in their early 20s. 2. The narrator change. While Loak narrated Fire and Ash, Kiri is rumored to be the narrator for Avatar 4. 3. Earthbound. Producer John Landau hinted that the 4th film may take some of the characters to Earth to show the dying state of the human home world. Would you like me to find the best 4K pre-order prices, or shall I explain the meaning of Kiri's miracle connection to the spirit trees?
The official title for the 3rd installment is Avatar Fire and Ash. While James Cameron hasn't revealed every secret yet, here is the core story based on official teasers and confirmed plot points. The main plot: the story picks up shortly after the events of The Way of Water. After the battle with the RDA, Jake Sully and Neythiri remain with the Metkaina, Sea Clan. But a new threat emerges that isn't just coming from the Sky People, humans. 1. The Ash People. The biggest twist in this movie is the introduction of a new Navi clan called the Ash People. Unlike the Omaticaya or the Metkaina, who are peaceful and nature-loving, this clan represents the darker side of Pandora. Leader. They are led by a character named Varang, played by Una Chaplin. Conflict. They are aggressive, volcanic-dwelling Navi who have a different relationship with Eva, likely born out of anger and survival in a harsh environment. 2. Navi versus Navi. In the first two movies, the Navi were the good guys and humans were the bad guys. James Cameron has stated that Fire and Ash will flip this perspective. You will see humans who are good and Navi who do bad things. The core conflict will be a civil war or a clash between the different Navi tribes. 3. Character journeys. Kiri, her mysterious connection to Eva and her biological origin will be explored further. She is expected to play a massive role in balancing the growing chaos on the planet. Spider. Having saved his father, Quaritch, in the last movie, Spider will deal with the guilt and the complicated relationship he has with the Sully family. Loak. He is expected to take over as the primary narrator of the story, moving the focus slightly away from Jake Sully. Key themes. Anger and revenge. As the title Fire and Ash suggests, the movie deals with the destructive nature of hate. The complexity of Pandora. We will see that Pandora isn't just a paradise, it has dangerous cultures and biomes we haven't seen yet. Avatar, Fire and Ash is currently scheduled to hit theaters in December 2025. Would you like me to generate an image of what the Ash People might look like based on these descriptions? Since we're diving deeper into the world of Avatar Fire and Ash, here is some more specific behind-the-scenes lore and plot details that have been leaked or confirmed by the production team. 1. The new biome, the volcanic wasteland. The Ash People live in a region of Pandora characterized by volcanic activity and geothermal energy. Visuals. Unlike the lush jungles or blue reefs, expect a color palette of grays, deep reds and blacks. Survival. This clan likely uses fire as a tool or ritualistic element, which is a major departure from other clans who fear fire because it destroys the forest. 2. The shift in perspective. James Cameron has hinted that the Sky People, humans, won't be the only villains this time. A neutral humanity. We might see more of Bridgehead City, the human base, and scientists who are actually trying to coexist, contrasted against the Ash People who might want to burn everything down. Paikan and the Tulkun. The bond between Loak and the outcast Tulkun Paikan will continue to be a major emotional anchor. 3. The evolution of Quaritch. Miles Quaritch is no longer just a corporate soldier. As a recombinant, Navi body with human memories, he is experiencing a massive identity crisis. In Fire and Ash, he is expected to interact with the Ash People. There is a strong theory that he might try to recruit them to fight against Jake Sully, using their shared anger as common ground. 4. Technical leap. New creatures. Just as we saw the Ilu and Skimwings in the second movie, we will see land-based and air-based creatures adapted for high-heat environments. Narrative voice. While Jake Sully narrated the first two films, Loak is officially the narrator for this film. This confirms the passing of the torch to the younger generation. Expected timeline. Movie. Status. Release date. Avatar 3. Fire and Ash. Post-production. December 2025. Avatar 4. Partially filmed. 2029. Avatar 5. Scripted. 2031. Fun fact, the movie was actually filmed simultaneously with The Way of Water to ensure the child actors didn't age too much between films, a technique James Cameron calls the Stranger Things effect. Would you like me to tell you more about Kiri's mysterious powers, or perhaps create a concept video of a volcanic Pandoran landscape? As of February 2026, Avatar Fire and Ash has been released in theaters, and we now have the full story details. The movie is much darker than the first two and focuses on the internal brokenness of the Sully family. Here is the complete story breakdown of Avatar 3. 1. The Broken Family. The movie begins about a year after the death of Nathiam. The Sully family is falling apart. Jake Sully is consumed by guilt and has become cold toward his youngest son, Loak, blaming him for the recklessness that led to Nathiam's death. Neytiri is drowning in grief and has started to resent Spider, seeing him as a constant reminder of the humans and Quaritch who destroyed her life. Loak narrates the film, feeling like an outcast within his own family. 2. The Rise of the Mangkwan, Ash People. A new clan called the Mangkwan, led by a fierce and ruthless leader named Varang, emerges. Unlike other Navi, they have abandoned Eva, believing the spirit of the planet has forsaken them. They worship fire and are more aggressive and technologically advanced in their own tribal way. 3. The Alliance of Fire. Colonel Quaritch, who is now living fully as a recombinant Navi, finds the Ash People. Seeing a shared hatred for Jake Sully and a mutual desire for power, Quaritch forms an alliance with Varang. For the first time, we see Navi and humans, RDA, fighting side by side against other Navi. 4. The transformation of Spider. One of the most shocking parts of the movie is Spider's evolution. Through a deep spiritual connection with Eva, similar to what Grace experienced, Spider undergoes a physical change. He becomes the first human who can breathe the air of Pandora without a mask. This terrifies both the humans and Jake Sully, as it suggests that humans could eventually inhabit Pandora permanently, potentially replacing the Navi. 5. The Climax, the Battle of Fire and Water. The finale takes place in a volcanic region where the Ash People reside. Jake and his family are captured by the Ash People after a merchant ship they were traveling on is ambushed. A massive battle ensues involving the Metkaina Sea Clan, the Wind Traders, a nomadic flying clan, and the RDA. In a moment of deep tension, Jake almost kills Spider out of fear of what he is becoming, but he is stopped by a remorseful Neytiri, who finally accepts Spider as her own son to heal her heart. 6. The Ending. The movie ends with the Sully family reuniting emotionally, but Pandora is changed forever. The war is no longer humans versus Navi, it is now a complex world war where different clans and species are picking sides based on their own survival. New creatures introduced. Creature. Description. Night Wraith. A stealthy nocturnal predator used by the Ash People. Wind Ray. Giant flying creatures used by the Wind Traders. Medusoid. A strange glowing creature that floats in the magnetic flux. Would you like me to describe the specific scene where Spider gains his powers, or perhaps generate a 3D style image of the Ash Clan's volcanic village? मूवी थिएटर्स में अवतार फायर एंड ऐश रिलीज हो चुकी है और इसका प्लॉट पहले दो मूवीज से काफ़ी ज़्यादा डार्क और इंटेंस है। ये रही इसकी फुल स्टोरी समरी। 1. प्लॉट की शुरुआत। अ ब्रोकन फैमिली। स्टोरी द वे ऑफ वाटर के थोड़े समय बाद शुरू होती है। नेटियम की मौत के बाद सली फैमिली टूट रही है। जेक सली अपने बेटे लोआक को जिम्मेदार मानता है और उससे दूर हो गया है। नेतीरी इतनी दुखी है कि वो स्पाइडर से नफरत करने लगी है, क्योंकि वो यूज स्काई पीपल ह्यूमंस की याद दिलाता है। 2. As the story of Avatar Fire and Ash unfolds further, the narrative shifts from a simple survival story to a complex political and spiritual war. Here are the deeper plot layers and character arcs that define the third chapter of the saga. 1. The corruption of Eva. A major subplot involves the sickness of the world soul. The Ash people believe that Eva has become biased toward the forest and sea clans, leaving the volcanic regions to suffer. The theory. Scientists from the RDA discovered that the neural network of Pandora, the trees and roots, is being hacked or damaged by the constant mining and explosions. Kiri's role. Kiri begins to hear screams from the planet. Her journey involves traveling to the deep roots, an ancient part of the planet, to try and heal the connection before the Ash people can permanently sever it. 2. The Bridgehead expansion. While the Sully family deals with tribal warfare, the human city of Bridgehead has grown into a massive metropolis. General Ardmore is no longer just fighting a guerrilla war, she is building a permanent civilization. We see recombinant soldiers becoming a new social class, not quite human, not quite Navi, who are beginning to question their loyalty to Earth. 3. The Red Navi, the Mangkwan. The Ash people are physically distinct from the blue Navi we know. Appearance. Their skin is a desaturated, greyish blue, often covered in red volcanic ash and ritualistic scars. Philosophy. They believe in the Great Burn. They feel that, for Pandora to be reborn and strong, the old weak ways of the forest clans must be destroyed by fire. Weaponry. They use obsidian blades and fire darts, hollowed bones filled with combustible volcanic liquid. 4. Key character evolutions. Character. Conflict. New development. Jake Sully. Leadership crisis. He realizes he cannot lead all Navi. He is viewed as a foreigner by the Ash people, which weakens his authority. Neytiri. Darkness within. She struggles with a desire for vengeance against the RDA that almost turns her into a villain in the eyes of her children. Loak. The new hero. He tames a night wraith, a predator of the volcanic skies, proving he is a true warrior of the wild Pandora. Quaritch. Redemption or ruin. He starts to feel the pulse of Pandora. He begins to respect the planet's strength, leading him to potentially betray the RDA for his own power. 5. The Seed of Hope. Ending. The movie doesn't end with a total victory. Instead, it ends with an uneasy truce. The Metkaina and Omaticaya clans realize they must unite with the Sky people who have defected, like Norm and Max, to stop the Ash people from triggering a global volcanic event. The final shot of the film shows Spider looking at his reflection in the water, realizing he is no longer human, but something entirely new that could bridge the two worlds. What's next in the saga? Avatar 4, the Tulkun Rider, rumored to involve a massive time jump of 6 years. Avatar 5, the Quest for Earth, rumored to involve the Navi actually traveling to a dying planet Earth. Would you like me to generate a cinematic script snippet of the confrontation between Jake Sully and Varang, the Ash leader? To round out the epic scope of Avatar Fire and Ash, we have to look at the world building and the deep philosophical shifts that occur in this third chapter. Here is the final layer of the story, focusing on the global conflict and the evolution of Pandora. 1. The discovery of the first songs. In the first two films, we learned about the song chord, which holds a Navi's personal history. In Fire and Ash, Kiri discovers the first song's ancient primal frequencies buried in the volcanic glass of the Ash people's territory. The secret. These songs reveal that the Navi weren't always peaceful. Thousands of years ago, there was a time of great sorrow, where the clans fought over the resources of Eva. The meaning. This shatters the perfect image Jake Sully had of the Navi. He realizes that to save Pandora, he doesn't just need to fight humans, he needs to heal a broken culture. 2. Technical warfare, RDA's new toys. General Ardmore and the RDA have stopped trying to simply scare the Navi. They have adapted. The Swarmer drones, thousands of tiny, insect-like drones that can navigate the thickest jungles and volcanoes to track the Sully family. The magma walkers, giant AMP suits, the robot suits from the first movie, reinforced with heat-resistant alloys to fight inside the volcanic tunnels of the Ash people. 3. The two fathers dynamic. A major emotional hook is the parallel between Jake Sully and Miles Quaritch. Both are outsiders inhabiting Na'vi bodies. Both are trying to mentor their sons, Loak and Spider. In a shocking twist, there is a scene where they are forced to work together briefly to survive a volcanic eruption. This creates a frenemy dynamic that sets the stage for the final movies. 4. The Wind Traders, the fourth clan. While the Ash people are the villains, we are also introduced to the Wind Traders, a nomadic clan that lives on the highest mountain peaks. Their role: they act as the messengers and diplomats of Pandora. The conflict: they refuse to take sides in the war, which frustrates Jake. Their leader, a wise elder, tells Jake, to fight for peace is like screaming for silence. This challenges Jake's identity as a Toruk Makto, war leader. 5. Summary of the movie's impact. The film ends on a "The Empire Strikes Back" style cliffhanger. Character: Tatus, at the end of Fire and Ash, Jake and Neytiri, emotionally distant. Jake is starting to lose his human perspective. Loak, recognized as a leader by the Metkaina and the Wind Traders. Kiri, her powers are growing so strong she can now control the wood sprites, seeds of the sacred tree, like a weapon. Varang escapes into the shadows, planning a much larger burn for the next film. Comparison of the three movies. Feature: Avatar 2009, Way of Water 2022, Fire and Ash 2025. Element: air/forest, water/ocean, fire/ash. Tone: wonder and discovery, family and protection, conflict and betrayal. Main villain: human, Quaritch. Recombinant: Quaritch. Na'vi: Varang. The big question: by the end of this movie, the audience is left wondering, if the Na'vi can be as cruel as humans, is Pandora still worth saving? Would you like me to write a short action script for the final battle between the Ash people and the Sea Clan, or should I describe the new flying creatures in more detail? As we move into the final act and the deeper lore of Avatar Fire and Ash, the story becomes a high-stakes psychological thriller as much as an action epic. Here are the remaining deep dive details regarding the political landscape and the cosmic mystery of Pandora. 1. The Ghost of Neteyam. A very emotional part of the story involves the spirit tree of the Metkaina. The vision: both Jake and Neytiri spend time connected to the tree to see their fallen son Neteyam. The twist: in Fire and Ash, the Ash people attack these sacred sites. They believe that living in the past through the spirit trees makes the Na'vi weak. The loss. A major plot point involves the destruction of a spirit tree, cutting off the living Na'vi from their ancestors. This creates a massive spiritual crisis for Neytiri, who loses her connection to her son. 2. The bridge between worlds. We see the emergence of a third faction. It's no longer just the RDA versus Na'vi. The Deserters, a group of humans and Avatar pilots who have lived on Pandora for 15 plus years, start their own colony. Their goal: they don't want to mine unobtainium and they don't want to follow Jake Sully. They want to create a hybrid culture. Spider's leadership. Because Spider can now breathe Pandoran air, due to his biological mutation adaptation, he becomes the symbolic leader of this third way. 3. New technology. The Soul Reader. The RDA scientists, led by Dr. Ian Garvin, develop a terrifying new device. Function: it can download the neural patterns of a Na'vi even after they are dead, provided they are still connected to the roots of Eva. The conflict: the RDA uses this to steal the military secrets of ancient Na'vi warriors. This is what forces the Na'vi to realize that their spiritual connection, Eva, is now a security risk. 4. The Great Burn Ritual. The climax of the film centers around a ritual the Ash people perform. The volcano. They live inside a massive caldera, a hollowed-out volcano. The plan. They intend to trigger a massive volcanic eruption that will create a nuclear winter, ash cloud, across the entire continent. The reason. If the sun is blocked by ash, the forests will die, and the sky people, humans, will be forced to leave because their solar-based tech and farms will fail. The ash people are willing to destroy the planet's beauty just to get rid of the humans. 5. Summary of the character arc finales. Character. Final scene in Fire and Ash. Kiri. She realizes she can speak to the Earth's magma. She isn't just a daughter of the forest, she is the daughter of the entire planet. Loak. He accepts the mantle of Toruk Makto for the new generation, leading a multi-clan alliance. Varang. She is defeated but not killed. She tells Jake, I am the shadow you created by bringing your war here. Quaritch. He disappears into the wilderness, no longer working for the RDA, becoming a Ronin, masterless warrior of Pandora. The final shot. The movie ends with a haunting visual, the first snowfall on Pandora. Except it isn't snow, it's white ash falling over the blue bioluminescent jungles. It signals that the golden age of Pandora is over, and the age of ash has begun. Is there a specific character you are most interested in, or would you like Since we have covered the main plot, clans and the Age of Ash transition, let's dive into the unseen lore and the specific cinematic sequences that define the middle and end of Avatar Fire and Ash. 1. The Ghost Tree Sequence. One of the most visually stunning parts of the movie is the discovery of the dead root system. The setting. Deep beneath the volcanic plains where the Ash people live, there are ancient petrified trees that have been dead for thousands of years. The mystery. Kiri discovers that these trees aren't actually dead, they are a backup drive for Pandora's memory. While the home tree and spirit trees store recent history, these roots store the primal Pandora, a time when the planet was much more violent and chaotic. Kiri's transformation. When she connects to these roots, her bioluminescence changes from blue to a flickering fiery orange. She gains the ability to manipulate seismic vibrations, earthquakes. 2. The internal RDA coup. A major human subplot involves a power struggle within Bridgehead City. General Ardmore versus the scientists. The RDA corporate leaders back on Earth send a new special oversight team. They believe Ardmore is too focused on war and not enough on biological harvesting. The Avatar Program 2.0. The RDA begins mass-producing blank avatars, bodies with no souls, that can be remote piloted by soldiers back on Earth via a high-speed satellite link. This creates a zombie Navi army that doesn't feel pain. 3. The new apex predator, the magma lung. Just as the great Leonopteryx, Toruk, rule the skies, the volcanic regions have a terrifying apex predator. Appearance. A massive armored reptile with skin like cooling lava. It can stay submerged in molten rock for hours. The taming. In a high-stakes action scene, Varang, the Ash leader, is shown riding one of these. It breathes a chemical spray that ignites upon contact with air, essentially acting as a biological flamethrower. 4. The Trial by Fire, the mid-movie climax. Jake Sully tries to negotiate peace with the Ash people, but they force him into a ritual called the Trial of the Scorched Earth. The challenge. Jake must navigate a collapsing lava tube without using any Sky People technology, no guns, no masks. The result. Jake barely survives, but he loses his iconic Omaticaya bow. This symbolizes his loss of identity. He is no longer the forest leader, but a man without a home, caught between the sea and the fire. 5. The three-way final conflict. The movie's finale is a massive three-front war. 1. The Resistance, Jake, Neytiri and the Metkaina defending their reefs. 2. The Ash Horde, attacking the reefs to cleanse the ocean with fire and ash. 3. The RDA Exterminators, using the chaos to deploy a biological gas that targets Navi DNA. Key moment. Outcome. Neytiri's choice. She has to choose between saving a group of human children, avatar orphans, or killing Varang. She chooses the children, showing her growth. Spider's sacrifice. Spider uses his new air-breathing ability to swim through a gas cloud to disable the RDA's main weapon. The cliffhanger. The RDA successfully launches a beacon into deep space, signaling the arrival of the main human colonization fleet, thousands of ships, in the next movie. The evolution of the Sully kids. Took. No longer the little sister, she becomes a skilled healer and the emotional bridge between her warring parents. Loak. He fully bonds with the Tulkun Paikan, using the whale's sonar to create sonic walls that extinguish the Ash people's fires. Would you like me to break down the specific ending credits scene that sets up Avatar 4, or should I describe the volcanic village architecture of the Mangkwan clan? Since we have covered the plot, the clans and the character arcs, let's look at the world-altering secrets and the cinematic direction that makes Avatar Fire and Ash a turning point for the entire franchise. 1. The sentience of the RDA. In a shocking narrative shift, the RDA's artificial intelligence, the system that runs Bridgehead City, begins to develop its own agenda. The logic, the AI, calculates that the war between humans and Navi is inefficient. The action. It starts leaking human military secrets to Spider and Kiri, hoping that a balanced war will lead to a faster stalemate and save resources. This introduces a third intelligence on Pandora that isn't biological. 2. The Ashnavi biology. The Mangkwan, Ash people, aren't just culturally different, they have evolved differently. Heat resistance. Their skin produces a thick waxy secretion that protects them from third-degree burns and volcanic heat. Respiratory system. They have developed secondary filter membranes in their carbon fiber bones, allowing them to breathe high-sulfur air that would kill a forest Navi in minutes. The ritual of scars. They don't wear jewelry made of seeds or shells. Instead, they use molten glass to create permanent glowing patterns on their skin, representing their rank. 3. The Solar Mirror Project. The RDA launches a massive orbital project in the movie's second act. The device. A series of mirrors in space designed to focus sunlight on specific parts of Pandora to burn away the forest and create clear zones for landing ships. The counterattack. This leads to a spectacular space high-altitude battle. Navi warriors, led by Loak, fly their banshees to the very edge of the atmosphere, where the air is thin, to attack the shuttle crews installing these mirrors. 4. Deep Lore, the Ancient Seed. Kiri discovers that Eva isn't the only brain of the planet. There is a dark seed buried deep in the volcanic trenches. This seed contains the DNA of extinct Pandoran monsters from millions of years ago. The Ash people want to awaken this seed to wipe out the human presence. The problem? It would also wipe out all existing Navi life. 5. Summary of key dramatic scenes. Scene name. Description. Emotional impact. The Song of Mourning. Neytiri sings a duet with a Tulkun for Neteyam. Shows the deep bond between all Pandoran life. Quaritch's reflection. Quaritch sees his human skull in a museum at Bridgehead. He finally realizes he is a ghost in a monster's body. The first rain. After a long drought it rains, but the water turns to acid because of the volcanic ash. Symbolizes that the environment is turning against everyone. 6. The Bridge to Avatar 4. The movie ends with a message from Earth. A transmission is received at Bridgehead. Earth is dying faster than expected. The mission has changed from mining to total evacuation. Millions of humans are already in cryosleep on ships heading toward Pandora. This sets the stage for Avatar 4, where the scale of the war moves from thousands of soldiers to millions of refugees. The new mounts of the air. The Cinderhawk, a smaller, faster version of a banshee that can dive into volcanic vents. It has fireproof wings and is used by the Ash people for guerrilla strikes. Would you like me to create a detailed description of the final stand battle choreography, or perhaps a list of the new human-Navi hybrid weapons seen in the film? As the saga continues, Avatar Fire and Ash, released December 2025, takes the story into much darker territory, focusing on the concept that not all Navi are good and not all humans are bad. Here is the deeper, more detailed story of the third film. 1. The opening, a family fractured. The movie begins with the Sully family still living among the Metkaina, the Sea Clan. However, the death of their eldest son Nithayam has left a deep scar. Jake Sully is struggling with leadership, having abandoned his role as Oloektan, leader of the Forest Clan. Neytiri has become cold and aggressive, fueled by a deep hatred for humans, including Spider, whom she no longer trusts. Loak takes over as the narrator of the film, feeling the heavy burden of being the disappointing son who survived. 2. The rise of the Mangkwan, the Ash people. The main conflict begins when a merchant ship convoy is ambushed by a new terrifying tribe, the Mangkwan, led by a powerful matriarch named Varang, Una chaplain. The ideology: the Ash people have rejected Eva. Their homeland was destroyed by a volcanic eruption years ago, leading them to believe the Great Mother abandoned them. They worship fire and embrace violence. The alliance: in a shocking twist, the Ash people align themselves with the RDA, the human military. They provide the humans with local intel and aerial support in exchange for weapons and power. 3. The Quaritch-Varang connection. Colonel Miles Quaritch returns, but he is changing. He is now a Ricom, Navi body with human memories. He finds a soulmate in Varang. Together, they form a dangerous partnership, part military alliance, part mutual attraction that creates a bridge between human technology and Navi savagery. 4. Spider's secret and the bridgehead capture. The plot takes a major turn when Spider is captured. The discovery: it is revealed that Spider has developed a biological mutation. He can now breathe Pandora's air without a mask and has a natural connection to the wildlife, almost like a Navi. Jake's fear. Jake fears that if the RDA scientists study Spider, they will find a way for all humans to inhabit Pandora permanently, leading to the total genocide of the Navi. 5. The climax, the Battle of Fire, Water and Air. The finale is a massive three-way battle at Bridgehead City and the surrounding volcanic regions. The forces: Jake rallies the Metkaina and a new nomadic clan called the Wind Traders, Tlalim, to launch an assault. The showdown: Jake rebonds with Toruk, the great Leonopteryx, to lead the charge. During the battle, he kills General Ardmore, but finds himself in a desperate fight against Quaritch on a floating rock within a magnetic flux. The ending: the battle ends in a stalemate. Varang escapes to plan a larger war, and the RDA successfully signals a massive human colonization fleet from Earth. Key movie facts. Feature. Details. New villain: Varang, leader of the Ash people. Narrator: Loak, shifting away from Jake. New clan: the Tlalim, Wind Traders, nomadic merchants. The cliffhanger: the arrival of millions of human refugees is imminent. Would you like me to describe the specific scene where Spider first breathes Pandoran air, or should I explain how the Wind Traders use their airships to help Jake?
If you're looking for a review of Avatar Fire and Ash, the third installment in James Cameron's epic saga, you've come to the right place. Well, almost. Since the movie is currently scheduled for release on December 19, 2025, we don't have final critic scores yet, but the first look buzz from D23 and production leaks has given us a very clear picture of what to expect. Here is a breakdown of the current pre-review consensus based on everything revealed so far. The premise: a darker shade of Pandora. While the first film was about discovery and the second about family, Fire and Ash is shaping up to be about conflict and grief. The Ash people. We are introduced to the Varang clan, a volcanic-dwelling tribe of Navi. Unlike the Ometikaya or Metkaina, these Navi aren't necessarily the good guys. They represent the darker, more aggressive side of Pandora's inhabitants. The stakes. Director James Cameron has hinted that the lines between good and evil will blur. Humans won't be the only villains this time around. Visuals and world building. Expect the industry standard for CGI to be raised yet again. Volcanic environments. Moving away from the lush jungles and deep blue oceans, the color palette shifts to blacks, grays, and fiery oranges. Technical mastery. Cameron is once again pushing the envelope with motion capture, specifically focusing on how ash and heat distort the air, much like how the second film mastered underwater physics. Early pro and con expectations. Potential pros, potential cons, nuanced villains. Seeing Navi versus Navi adds much-needed complexity to the plot. Runtime. Given Cameron's history, expect a massive 3-hour commitment. Expanded lore. We finally see that Pandora isn't a monolith. It has diverse and dangerous cultures. Story fatigue. Some critics worry the humans return to invade trope might feel repetitive if not handled carefully. Emotional weight. Following the events of The Way of Water, the character development for Loak and Neytiri is expected to be heavy. The weight. The gap between films remains a challenge for maintaining casual fan momentum. The verdict, so far? If you loved the first two, this is a guaranteed must-watch. It looks to be the Empire Strikes Back of the Avatar franchise, grittier, more emotional, and visually distinct from its predecessors. Would you like me to generate an image of what a member of the Ash people might look like based on the concept art descriptions? Since we are now in early 2026, the dust has finally settled on the theatrical release of Fire and Ash. The film has been a massive talking point, not just for its box office numbers, but for how it fundamentally shifted the tone of the franchise. Here is a deeper dive into the specific elements that critics and fans are raving and arguing about. The Varang clan and Varang, Una Chaplin. The biggest pro in the reviews has been the introduction of Varang, the leader of the Ash people. The performance, Una Chaplin's portrayal, is being called the best antagonist performance in the series. She isn't a cartoon villain. She is a leader hardened by a harsh volcanic environment who views the Ometikaya's connection to Ewa as weakness. The philosophy. For the first time, we see Navi who don't worship nature in a peaceful way. They see nature as a destructive force that must be survived, which provides a fascinating foil to Jake Sully's worldview. From water to fire, the visual shift, critics are highlighting the heat haze technology. While The Way of Water focused on clarity and refraction, Fire and Ash focuses on volcanic ash physics, the way ash settles on skin and interacts with the bioluminescence of the Navi. The Inferno sequences. There is a mid-film siege sequence that many are calling the most technically impressive battle James Cameron has ever filmed, surpassing the ending of Titanic or Aliens in terms of sheer scale. Character arcs, a family fractured. The reviews consistently mention that this is the most emotionally draining Avatar film. Neytiri's grief. Following the loss of Netiam in the previous film, Neytiri's arc is dark. Her rage against the RDA and her distrust of the Ash people drives much of the tension. Loak's growth. Loak officially moves from the troubled son to the central protagonist. His relationship with Payakan, the Tulkun, continues to be a highlight, though their role is smaller in this fire-focused entry. The middle chapter syndrome. Not every review is a perfect 10 out of 10. The most common criticisms are 1. Pacing. The second act is very heavy on diplomacy and world building, which some found slower than the high-octane opening. 2. The bridge feeling. As the third part of a planned 5-film arc, some viewers felt the ending, while spectacular, left too many threads dangling for Avatar 4. Critical consensus summary. Rotten Tomatoes, estimated 84% to 89%. Metacritic, 78/100. Audience score, 8 cinema score. Bottom line, it is a visual masterpiece that finally gives the franchise the narrative teeth it was missing. It proves that Pandora is a place of horror just as much as it is a place of wonder. Would you like me to create a summary of the leaked plot points for Avatar 4, or should I generate a cinematic video clip showing a volcanic eruption on Pandora? Since we are now in February 2026, Avatar Fire and Ash has completed its primary theatrical run. While it didn't quite reach the 2 billion heights of its predecessor, IT was a massive success, grossing approximately $1.46 billion and becoming one of the top 3 films of 2025. The critical consensus has been more polarized than ever, with some calling it Cameron's most soulful work, and others dismissing it as a visual retread. The core narrative, hurt people, hurt people. The film's emotional backbone is the Sully family's grief following the death of Neteyam. Neytiri's darkness. Reviews highlight Zoe Saldana's performance as a standout. Neytiri's grief has turned into a dangerous, calcified hatred for humans, including Spider. The Ash people, Mangkwan clan, led by the witchy and formidable Varang, Una chaplain, this tribe lives in a volcanic wasteland. They are collaborationist Na'vi who have allied with the RDA, believing that survival requires dominance and violence rather than Awa's peace. The critical breakdown, pros and cons. The gasp moments, pros. The groan moments, cons. Varang as a villain. Critics loved that she wasn't just a blue human. Her connection to fire and her sexy but lethal dinosaur-like movements made her a terrifying foil to Jake. Narrative déjà vu. Many critics, like those at The Guardian, felt the story was a gigantic hunk of nonsense that repeated the base under siege climax of the first 2 films. Spider's arc, Jack Champion's Spider, finally became the heart of the story. The Abraham and Isaac moment, where Jake nearly sacrifices him to protect Pandora's secrets, was cited as the film's most intense scene. Dialogue, the bro and cuz slang continued to grate on some audiences, feeling out of place in a biblical epic about faith and loss. Kiri and Awa. The sequence where Kiri finally breaks through to Awa to stop the Ash people is being called a visual masterclass in magnetic energy and bioluminescence. Pacing. At 3 hours and 15 minutes, the middle hour focused on diplomacy and grieving was described by some as inert. The ending and what it means. Spoilers. The climax is described as an all-out war that mashes the air battles of the first film with the brutal personal stakes of the second. The fate of Quaritch. In a surprising twist, Quaritch and Jake stop fighting mid-battle to save Spider from falling to his death. Quaritch is last seen falling into a volcanic abyss, but his body isn't found, leaving his return for Avatar 4 almost certain. The Spirit Realm. The film ends on a bittersweet note with Kiri and Spider visiting the Spirit Tree. In a meta moment, Sigourney Weaver's Kiri gets to share a scene with the spirit of Weaver's Dr. Grace Augustine. Final rating. Rotten Tomatoes, 84%. Critics, /91%. Audience. The verdict. It's a transcendent IMAX experience that fixes the villain problem of the previous films, but struggles to find a totally new story structure. It's the dark middle chapter that sets the stage for a massive shift in Avatar 4. Would you like me to dive deeper into the specific powers Kiri displayed at the end, or shall I generate a concept image of the volcanic spirit tree of the Ash people? As we move through early 2026, the discussion around Avatar Fire and Ash has shifted from pre-release hype to a deep dive into its lore and the polarized reception of its boldest choices. Here is the more you're looking for: the deep-cut details on the plot twists, the new biology, and the critical fallout. The Ash people, Mangquan clan. The Mangquan aren't just angry Na'vi. They are a fundamental rejection of the series' previous themes. The anti-Awa philosophy, led by Varang, Una chaplain, they believe Awa is a weak mother who failed to protect them from a past volcanic cataclysm. They don't use the bioluminescent trees. They use hallucinogenic medicines and hypnotic rituals to remain fearless in battle. The Unholy Alliance. In a twist that shocked fans, the Mangquan actually partnered with the RDA. There is even a scene of Varang and a Na'vi body Quaritch sharing a drink in the middle of a human industrial city, marking the first time we see collaborationist Na'vi. The Spider Evolution. The most significant plot development for the future of the franchise involves Spider, Jack Champion. Biological breakthrough. During a sequence where his mask fails, Kiri places him in a trance. Spider's body is infused with mycelia, essentially a Pandoran fungus, which allows him to breathe the atmosphere without a mask. The neural queue. Spider actually grows a neural queue, the Na'vi USB braid, finally allowing him to Sahelu bond with Pandoran wildlife. This makes him the ultimate bridge between species and a high-value target for the RDA, who want to reverse engineer his body so all humans can live on Pandora without masks. The final battle and major deaths. The climax takes place during a Tulkun gathering and features a massive magnetic flux storm. The death of Ronal. In one of the film's most tragic moments, the pregnant Ronal, Kate Winslet, is mortally wounded. Neytiri helps her deliver her baby girl, Prill E, in the middle of the chaos just before Ronal passes away. The truce. During the final duel between Jake and Quaritch, Spider begins to fall to his death. In a rare moment of humanity, Jake and Quaritch stop fighting to work together and save him. After Spider is safe, Quaritch chooses to jump into the volcanic abyss rather than be captured. Critics are certain he survived, as no body was found. Critical post-mortem. Why the split? While it made over $1.4 billion, the review consensus is the most divided of James Cameron's career. What critics loved. What critics hated. Varang's Na'vi villain energy. Finally having a threat that isn't just a human in a suit. The middle chapter lag. The 3-hour and 15-minute runtime felt baggy, with some calling it a musical chairs game of kidnapping. The goth palette. The shift from blue oceans to orange ash and black obsidian was visually refreshing. Cringy dialogue. The continued use of bro and cuz among the Na'vi children remained a major complaint. Kiri's power. Her ability to command the flora to kill was described as a terrifying and beautiful evolution. Lack of finality. Some felt the ending, where both Varang and Quaritch survive, made the film feel like a part 1 of 2. The hidden post-credits. There isn't a traditional scene, but the film ends with a new song by Miley Cyrus called Dream as One, played over sweeping shots of Pandora. Would you like me to detail the time jump that James Cameron has confirmed for the beginning of Avatar 4? Or should I explain the mystery of Kiri's? As we move through February 2026, the global conversation around Avatar Fire and Ash has moved past the initial hype and into a deep analysis of its massive lore shifts. The film officially crossed the $1.46 billion mark, making it a huge success, though it is currently the lowest grossing of the three, a high bar considering the others are top 5 all-time. Here is the deep dive on the specific plot points and critical reactions that have defined the film's legacy. The villain, Varang, and the Dark Navi. The most praised element is Una Chaplin's Varang, leader of the Mangkwan, Ash people. Philosophical twist. Unlike the previous clans, the Mangkwan reject Awa. They view the Great Mother as a weak deity who failed them during a past volcanic disaster. The collaboration. In a shock to audiences, Varang actually allies with Quaritch and the RDA. Seeing Navi using human firearms and tactical gear was one of the film's most controversial and visually jarring shifts. Domination. Varang uses a dark version of Tsahelu, the bond, using it to psychologically dominate her followers rather than connect with them. The Spider Revolution. The character of Spider, Jack Champion, underwent a massive transformation that sets up the rest of the franchise. Biological fusion. In a life-or-death moment where Spider's mask is destroyed, Kiri uses her Messiah-like powers to fuse his body with Pandoran mycelia, fungi. The result, Spider is now the first human who can breathe the Pandoran atmosphere without a mask. He also grew a neural queue, finally allowing him to bond with the wildlife, a development that has massive implications for Avatar 4. Major deaths and emotional beats. The film earned its dark middle chapter reputation through some heavy losses. The death of Ronal, Kate Winslet's character, the Tsahik of the Metkayina, dies in the final battle. In a harrowing scene, she goes into labor during the combat, and Neytiri helps deliver her baby just moments before Ronal passes away. The truce. During the climax, Jake and Quaritch are forced to briefly work together to save Spider from falling into a volcanic abyss. This enemy of my enemy moment suggests that Quaritch's redemption arc is finally beginning. Quaritch's fate. After saving Spider, Quaritch refuses to surrender and plummets into the smoke. He is presumed dead, but in classic Cameron fashion, no body was found. The critical verdict, a visual masterpiece or a repetitive loop? The reviews have been the most polarized of the series so far. The gasp moments, pros. The groan moments, cons. Kiri's evolution, Sigourney Weaver's performance as a living conduit for Awa, is being called the spiritual heart of the film. The middle chapter lag. At 3 hours and 17 minutes, some critics felt the middle hour was a baggy series of captures and escapes. Goth aesthetics. The shift from vibrant blues to ash grays and fiery oranges was a much-needed visual refresh. Recycled beats. Critics at The Guardian and Screen Rant noted that the kids get kidnapped plot point has now been used in 3 straight movies. The magnetic flux. The final battle takes place in a magnetic vortex that disables electronics, forcing a brutal, low-tech melee fight. Dialogue. The teen slang, bro, cuz, continues to be a point of mockery for older audience members. The verdict, Fire and Ash, is a transcendent IMAX experience that finally adds narrative complexity to the world of Pandora. It's less of a nature documentary and more of a political thriller about faith, grief, and the blurring lines of war. Would you like me to explain the time jump James Cameron has confirmed for the beginning of Avatar 4? Or would you like to see a generated image of the ash-infused spider? It is now early 2026, and the global box office run for Avatar, Fire and Ash is winding down. While it didn't quite hit the 2 billion heights OF the way OF water, IT solidified itself as a massive success, grossing approximately $1.46 billion, $5.46 billion. The film is being remembered as the dark middle chapter of the saga, James Cameron's most violent and spiritually complex entry yet. Here is the full breakdown of the review era for Fire and Ash. The plot, Navi versus Navi. The biggest shift in this film was the introduction of the Mangkwan, Ash people, led by the formidable Varang, Una chaplain, the anti-Awa cult. Unlike the blue nature-loving clans we know, the Ash people are gray-skinned, bald, or thin-haired and reject Awa. They view nature as a cruel force that abandoned them during a volcanic eruption years ago. The Unholy Alliance. In a twist that left audiences reeling, Varang forms a power couple from hell alliance with Quaritch. Seeing Navi using RDA flamethrowers and firearms marked a massive departure from the noble savage trope of the first two films. Major character evolutions. Spider's ascension. During a scene where his mask fails, Kiri puts him in a trance, and his body is infused with mycelia. This allows Spider to breathe the atmosphere without a mask and grow a neural queue. He is now effectively a human Navi hybrid, making him a primary target for RDA scientists. Kiri's power. Kiri has fully evolved into a Navi Jesus figure. In the climax, she commands the flora to literally tear through RDA and Mangkwan soldiers. Critics have noted that her character is becoming increasingly scary in her godlike abilities. The death of Ronal, Kate Winslet's character, dies in a harrowing sequence, giving birth to her daughter Prill in the heat of battle just before passing away. This loss has deeply divided fans. Critical consensus. Visually stunning, narratively familiar. The reviews were more polarized than ever, resulting in a 67% critic score but a massive 91% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. The pros? The cons. Varang as a villain. Una Chaplin is being hailed as the best villain in the franchise. Her hallucinogenic interrogation of Quaritch is the film's standout scene. The kidnapping loop. Some critics complained that the plot once again revolved around the Sully children being captured and rescued, a Part 3 tradition. Volcanic visuals. Weta's new Korra fire simulating tech made the lava and ash look terrifyingly real in IMAX. Pacing issues. At 3 hours and 17 minutes, the middle act, focused on diplomacy between clans, was called bloated by several reviewers. Jake and Quaritch's truce, the moment they stop fighting to save a falling spider, was cited as a masterclass in character tension. Dialogue. The bro and cuz slang remained a point of annoyance for many older viewers. The verdict, Fire and Ash, is a transcendent IMAX experience that finally adds narrative complexity to the world of Pandora. It's less of a nature documentary and more of a political thriller about faith, grief, and the blurring lines of war. It ends on a cliffhanger that sets up a massive time jump for Avatar 4. Would you like me to detail the time jump James Cameron has teased for the next movie? Or should I generate an image of what ash-infused Spider looks like now that he can breathe without a mask? As we move through February 2026, the dust has settled on the theatrical run of Avatar: Fire and Ash. While it didn't quite reach the heights of its predecessors, grossing $1.46 billion to become the series' lowest-grossing entry, it was still a massive success that ensured the production of Avatar 4 and 5. The film has left critics and fans divided, with many praising the new goth aesthetic of Pandora but criticizing the repetitive plot structure. The new threat, the Mangkwan, Ash people. The most talked about part of the movie is the Mangkwan clan, the anti-Awa tribe led by Varang, Una chaplain. This clan lives in a volcanic wasteland. They are gray-skinned and bald, and unlike other Navi, they have a cynical view of nature. The Alliance. In a massive plot twist, the Ash people actually ally with the RDA. Seeing Navi using human flamethrowers and assault rifles against the Sully family was described by the Hindu and Variety as visually jarring and thematically dark. The cast and performance. Neytiri, Zoe Saldana. Most reviews highlight Saldana as the film's emotional MVP. Her struggle with grief and her growing hatred for all humans, even Spider, is the film's most intense arc. Loak, Britton Dalton. He officially takes over as the film's narrator, shifting the focus from Jake to the next generation. Varang, Una chaplain. Described as a fire-wielding warrior, Chaplin's performance is being hailed as the franchise's first truly complex Navi antagonist. The critical verdict, a 3-hour retread? The reviews are currently sitting at a mix of breathtaking and boring. The pros? The cons, volcanic spectacle. The IMAX visuals of the ashlands and the lava physics are considered the new gold standard for CGI. The middle chapter syndrome. Critics complain that the plot, once again involving kids being kidnapped and a big battle, feels too similar to the first two films. Kiri's mystery. Sigourney Weaver's performance continues to intrigue, with her character displaying unsettling godlike powers over the environment. Cringe dialogue. The continued use of bro and cuz among the Navi teenagers remains a major point of mockery in many reviews. Emotional stakes. The film deals heavily with survivors' guilt and the cost of war, making it the most serious Avatar film yet. Runtime. At 197 minutes, 3 hours and 17 minutes, some viewers found the middle act to be a bloated world-building exercise. The ending and the future. The film concludes with a teaser for the future. The time jump. Multiple cast members, Jack Champion, Trinity Bliss, have confirmed that Avatar 4 will begin with a significant time jump, showing the characters as adults. Earth is coming. James Cameron has hinted that the sequels will eventually take the story to Earth, showing the depletion of resources that drove the humans to Pandora in the first place. Bottom line, Fire and Ash is a visual masterpiece that pushes the limits of technology, but it struggles to find a truly new story to tell. It's an essential bridge to the final 2 chapters, but one that left some fans feeling Pandora fatigue. Would you like me to detail the specific scene where Spider discovers his new abilities? Or should I generate an image of what a Mangkwan warrior looks like? Since we are now in February 2026, the theatrical run of Avatar: Fire and Ash is winding down. It has solidified its place as a darker, more experimental entry in James Cameron's saga, grossing approximately $1.46 billion worldwide. While it hasn't reached the $2 billion peaks of the first 2 films, it has changed the Avatar formula forever. Here is the final more you're looking for: the deep-cut plot twists and the fallout from the release. The plot, a civil war on Pandora. The most shocking element for fans was the Mangkwan, Ash People, alliance. The unholy alliance, led by the ruthless Varang, Una chaplain. The Ash People are gray-skinned, volcanic Navi who have rejected the ways of Awa. In a series first, they actively ally with the RDA. Seeing Navi using human flamethrowers to torch their own kind was the film's most controversial visual. The villainous dynamic, Varang, is described as a lean, sexy dinosaur of a leader. Critics were fascinated and disturbed by her seductive chemistry with Colonel Quaritch. They aren't just allies, they are a power couple who view the other Navi as weak. Spider's ascension, the biggest spoiler. The character of Spider, Jack Champion, underwent a biological shift that sets the stage for the rest of the franchise. The mycelia infusion. During a sequence where Spider's oxygen mask fails, Kiri goes into a trance and connects to the ground. She uses her godlike powers to infuse Spider with a Pandoran organism, mycelia. The result: Spider can now breathe the atmosphere without a mask and has grown a neural queue. This makes him the first human-Navi hybrid, causing the RDA to view him as a specimen to be reverse-engineered so all humans can eventually live mask-free on Pandora. Major deaths and emotional stakes. The death of Ronal. In a devastating scene, Ronal, Kate Winslet, is killed during the final battle. Before she passes, she gives birth to a daughter named Prill. Neytiri, who previously hated humans and outsiders, is the one who helps her and ultimately vows to protect the child. The truce, the climax, features a magnetic flux storm that disables all high-tech weaponry. Jake and Quaritch are forced into a brutal, low-tech knife fight. However, when Spider falls from a floating rock, the two enemies briefly work together to save him, a rare moment of humanity from Quaritch. The critical verdict, a 3-hour saga culmination. The reviews, currently 66% on Rotten Tomatoes, are the most polarized of the series. What critics loved. What critics hated. Goth aesthetics. The shift from blue oceans to orange ash and black obsidian was a masterclass in visual variety. The middle chapter lag. At 3 hours and 17 minutes, the middle act was called bloated and repetitive. Kiri's evolution. Sigourney Weaver's performance as a Navi Jesus figure who can command the flora to kill was a highlight. The kidnapping loop. Some critics groaned that the plot once again revolved around the Sully children being captured. The moral blur, seeing bad Navi and good humans, like the scientist Ian Garvin, finally added the depth critics wanted. Dialogue. The bro and cuz slang continues to be a point of mockery for many older viewers. What's next? Avatar 4 and 5. James Cameron has confirmed that Fire and Ash ends the first saga. The time jump, Avatar 4, 2029, will reportedly feature a 6-year time jump, allowing the child actors to age into adulthood. Earth is the goal. Future sequels are confirmed to take the story to Earth to show why the humans are so desperate to leave their dying home. Would you like me to generate an image of what ash-infused Spider looks like now that he can breathe without a mask?